Christian McCaffrey could be headed to IR. We're going to talk about whether this is something we expect to happen soon. It is not speculation.
Motion detected at the front door.
Who's at the front door right now? Don't they know we're going live? This is not necessarily speculation. It's coming from the mouth of John Lynch, but he says if placing him on IR is the right thing, it's what we'll do. So it's not like John Lynch is shooting down IR conversations, and there's a lot of people reporting on this right now. So this is not set in stone. I don't want anybody to walk away from this live stream assuming that Christian McCaffrey is on IR or 100% heading to IR. But the job of this show is to get ahead of the curve and to try and get you in a position to dominate your leagues. That's how you have Jordan Mason on your team right this very second.
Let him cook.
So we need to stay ahead of this stuff. We need to stay on our toes. We need to make sure we understand what's going on before it happens. And this may not actually happen. He may not go on IR. But this man did go on IR, Hollywood Brown, and he is not returning anytime soon. Dare I say maybe 2 months, but definitely over 4 weeks. 3 or 4 weeks. He's not coming back. He's on IR, so he's missing 4 weeks, but he is going to be gone much longer than 4 weeks. And even if he comes back, let's just say 5 weeks from now, he'll be eased in, which means that Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice go to the mother freaking moon. Let them cook as well.
Let him cook.
Not trying to celebrate injury at all. Okay, Hollywood Brown, prayers up to you, pal. CMC, prayers up to CMC. Not trying to rain on their parades at all. I'm merely trying to say that we have moon men that are in motion right now. One being Jordan Mason. I mean, he's going to the moon. Wasn't listed as an actual moon man, but he was an absolute monster grab for all of you that jumped on top of this thing before this thing spiraled out of control. And Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice.
The Moon Men.
Absolute Moon Men.
Dropping loads.
Absolute Moon Men. This show right here, ladies and gentlemen, the CMC to IR potential situation, the Hollywood Brown, the Xavier Worthy, the Rashee Rice situation, all that begins right now.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
From the FantasyFootballShow.com news desk, here is your breaking news.
Rashee Rice going to the moon. Rashee Rice, Worthy going to the moon. Dare I say both wide receivers have, I'm not saying you would draft them necessarily here, but both of them might have second round equivalent value. Like if you were redrafting, I'm not saying they go there, but they have the value to be worth second round picks. So Worthy right now, I have a lot of people say, Smitty, you love MHJ. And I do. And I think the world that is against MHJ, there's two kinds of people. Someone that reacts over 1 week in week one and thinks MHJ is not the best prospect to ever come out of college at the wide receiver position because I saw a piece of footage of him running in the wind. He ran in the wind, like 20 mile per hour wind, and someone said, oh, I don't know if he's fast. I don't know if he can run routes in the NFL. He looks slow. There's those kinds of people or the people that watched him all offseason. So that's a whole other story. But people come to me and say, and my point here is to emphasize how much I love Xavier Worthy. Hey, Smitty, you love you love MHJ. Should I trade Worthy for MHJ? And they think I'm going to be like, yeah, attaboy, go get it. No, that's not a knock on MHJ. I value MHJ up here. I don't know what's going on. The connection dropped there for a second. I'm sorry. I don't know. Where was I? I think I was saying something along the lines of that Xavier Worthy's going to the mother freaking moon. Rashee Rice going to the mother freaking moon. These two have what I think could be second round values, my guys. Okay, second round values. How much did you miss? Did it freeze for very long? I don't think it freeze for very long, did it? Okay. Did the connection drop out for very long? I hope it didn't. All right, so we got to get over to this topic right here. Christian McCaffrey, not placed on IR yet. Not for sure to be placed on IR. How's the stream looking? Are we good? We're back? Okay. Christian McCaffrey, not placed on IR yet. Not necessarily a guarantee to be placed on IR. But one thing I can tell you is that this man, John Lynch, is a guy, I don't want to say he's a straight shooter because he can sugarcoat anything. I like to call John Lynch a truth teller that bubble wraps the truth. Okay? So, meaning he's your dad that's giving you cautionary advice or something, but he doesn't give you the whole advice, he bubble wraps it. Usually when John Lynch is not going to play someone on IR in this situation, he won't even touch the topic. He'll be like, oh, no, Christian McCaffrey's doing great. We're real excited and amped up about what he's putting on the field product-wise. And, we're not going to... Could he go on IR? Excuse me. Reporter Randy here from the Take a Lap Times. Are you going to put Christian McCaffrey on IR? John would say this. If the answer was no, John would say this. We're really encouraged about what McCaffrey's doing out there. He's just the hardest worker. We love him. He's looking great right now. So, he's going to eat a big, hefty meal. He's going to eat his Wheaties, and we'll get him back onto the field as soon as possible. We're not sure when he's going to be out there, but we're real encouraged about what's going on. That's John Lynch bubble wrapping the truth because he is a straight shooter. I don't want to insinuate he's not, but he's very much going to wrap it like that. When he says if placing him on IR is the right thing, it's what we'll do. He does not say that unless this conversation is truly happening. And here's the skinny on this. I don't care if you're a Niner fan in here and you're like, Smitty, he practiced. Smitty, didn't you see? There's footage of him running a route and he ran pretty quick. This is not what you think it is. This is tendinitis in the Achilles. And tendinitis in the Achilles will come and go. And so there's no getting better from this. I don't know if people understand. He's not getting better. He will have good days. He will have bad days. The Christian McCaffrey that we know is gone. It doesn't mean he can't be elite. If he rests it, comes back in week number 9 or 10 or 8, and he has some good games because it won't flare up. It'll flare up maybe near the playoffs, and maybe he rotates in and out a little bit in week 17, in week 15. He usually waits until week 17 to screw you because he screwed me last week in week 17. But this is a player that's 28 years old with Achilles tendinitis. And while some people will say, because they heard it somewhere, that he's not going to tear his Achilles over Achilles tendinitis, this may be true, but it may not be true. There are cases where if you've got Achilles tendinitis, you are a little more prone in the right circumstances with the condition of the Achilles to tear the Achilles. It's ridiculous to insinuate that he is not more likely to tear his Achilles tendon with Achilles tendinitis, even if people are saying that to you. I don't care if it's a medical professional. The medical professionals are the ones that told you Tua Tagovailoa was no more likely than the average player to suffer a concussion. Do you remember me ranting and raving on that? The NFLPA said, we brought our independent doctors in, and they said they've deemed, okay, because they wanted to check, everybody wanted to check, dot their I's, cross their T's. They said Tua Tagovailoa, according to doctors, said that he's no more likely to suffer a concussion than the average quarterback in the NFL. What did I say? I came in here and I said, I don't care what medical professional told you that. If they did, don't listen to them. Because that's some of the dumbest stuff I've ever heard in my life. So I may not have an MD, but I've been doing this 23 years professionally. Not in my ma's basement, not part-time, professionally. And I'm telling you, I've seen these things over and over and over, cycles. Hey, I've seen everything that's a cycle. Smitty, the running back's dead. No, it's not. You're just too young to understand it's a cycle. Here comes Zeke Elliott. I remember before Zeke Elliott, the running back died. Everybody said it'd never return. I've seen it come and go. It's a cycle. It morphs a little bit. We've got a hybrid back now in the NFL that's a workhorse, but everyone said the workhorse is dead. Do you remember that? The workhorse is dead, Smitty. There are no more workhorses in the NFL. You guys don't know what you're talking about. I'm sitting back going, I've done this 23 years, watched the cycles happen. Anybody too young to not have lived through a cycle like that? To play in this, to give professional advice through the cycles, they don't know. They just think they're seeing something develop. The running back's going to die. There's no more workhorses. I laughed in their faces. Early quarterbacks no longer a thing. I laughed in their faces. Look. Christian McCaffrey, back on point. I get sidetracked so easily, but I can get reeled back in real quick. Christian McCaffrey, my guesstimation here is that he's going to go on IR because John Lynch does not say something like this unless he's trying to bubble wrap it. And what that means is it's worse than he's saying. And John Lynch saying if he's placing him on IR is the right thing, it's what we'll do. That's John Lynch protecting it and saying, we're thinking about IR. We're thinking about IR. Now, this is good for Christian McCaffrey because if he goes out there now, he might re-injure himself in a way with the calf that he can't play the rest of the year. And he has to go on IR and he misses the entire season. And he has to have surgery or he has to sit out and rest the calf and it can heal naturally, but he's done for the year. He's got the calf injury still. The calf injury is people are acting like it doesn't exist. He has a calf injury that could lead to an Achilles tear. He has Achilles tendonitis, which could, in the right circumstances, also lead to an Achilles tear. Don't tell me it can't. Don't tell me it can't. I don't care what you think you heard. Don't tell me it can't. He's got two separate issues. Maybe the calf injury is getting better. Maybe it's completely gone. We don't have all the facts, but what I do know is that this guy is suffering from something right now that will never go away. It will only get worse. Achilles tendonitis will never get better. It will only get worse. It will flare up. It'll go away. It will flare up. It will go away. John, Kyle, they've said it themselves. He has good days. He has bad days. Does that sound like somebody that can go from here until week 17 and then go through the playoffs? Think about it logically. What did Jordan Mason just do? He dropped loads all over the field. Who do the Niners play this week? The Minnesota Vikings. Do they need Christian McCaffrey? No, they don't. Are they favored in almost every single game or every single game this year, the 49ers? Yes. Is Jordan Mason looking up to the task of taking over so that this team can get into the playoffs, which they will? Almost guaranteed, right? Almost guaranteed to win the division or at least get a wild card spot. And then you have Christian McCaffrey for the playoffs. Not saying he doesn't play before that time, but your focus is the playoffs. And on top of that, if you think, oh, Smitty, you're kind of stretching here. I'm not. John Lynch is saying it. And if you think I'm stretching here, I'm not. But I'm trying to get ahead of the curve for you because that's how we do it. That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far. Our boy Raj is also posting this. And this is from KNBR. Lynch on the Niners may put Christian McCaffrey on IR. If that's the right thing, it's what we'll do. First of all, we'll see how he's doing today after a session yesterday, a good session yesterday. All options, Kyle said, are on the table. And so and then this is the most important part. We'll do what's right for Christian McCaffrey and what's right for our team. Okay, so that's one piece. Then we got another. These are all different. They're all pieces that if you add them together and read between the lines, it seems like IR is happening. John Lynch on Christian McCaffrey. Primary in our mind is the long view, the playoffs, the Super Bowl, the long view. Why would you say this if you weren't putting him on IR? The answer is you wouldn't. And even if he has a good day, going back to we'll see how he does in practice, it doesn't matter because the flare-up the next day could make it to where it's like, I got to sit out. I got to rest it. Doesn't matter if he has a good day in practice. Doesn't matter if you see him running. He has good days. He has bad days. He has flare-ups, and then it calms down. It won't calm down enough to maybe have no flare-up for consecutive games. If he sits out, he can have that. If he doesn't sit out, he's more than likely not going to see that this year. And why would you, against the Minnesota Vikings, above all, throw Christian McCaffrey out in week 2 with the entirety of the season ahead? You wouldn't. You wouldn't. And that's what they're trying to tell you here. So Christian McCaffrey very much in jeopardy of week 2, of course. I would say he's out. But at the same time, all this news points to Christian McCaffrey most likely being placed on IR, which means he's out a minimum of 4 games, but it could be longer, could be longer, could be right at 4 games. Tough to say. But even if he came back after 4 games, do you think they're throwing him into the lineup and giving him even 60% of the work? Probably not. So we're looking at way more than 4 weeks before he's up to speed, even if he is able to rest and have the flare-ups calm down and have some sort of remnants of his normal self for consecutive games in a row. This means Jordan Mason's going to the moon. This means that those of you that were able to get Mason off your waiver wire back when we started touting this situation, and I even did a video on the most crafty hero running back 2 would be a combo of different players, and Mason and also Garendo cuffed together, or even way back when Mitchell was in this situation, Mitchell and Mason were the cuff together, walking into the early part of the offseason as a very crafty bench maneuver that was standalone for you. You don't have CMC, but you're drafting both of the Niner backups because this man is 28 years old. This man was 28 years old entering the season with the calf injury. And a lot of people said, there's no way I am passing on Christian McCaffrey at 1.1, Smitty. He's McCaffrey. And I know that sometimes you jump a year early, it can be painful. It can be real painful. And I know that Soul doesn't want to hear this. This is a Niner fan here for sure. CMC not going to IR. He's not. He's not, Smitty. He's not. Yeah. So expect the IR announcement soon. I imagine within 48 hours. I imagine before this week because they want to get that ball rolling on that, right? They don't want to walk through this week and then put them on IR next week. They could. And for anybody that says if they were going to put him on IR, they would have done it already, that is the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Because they're trying to see if he can avoid it. And if they find out he can't, then they go, damn, he's got to go on IR. That's what's going to happen. It's not a case of they know or they don't know. This is a case of a flare-up, and it doesn't flare up. Then it flares up, and then it doesn't flare up. And it is what it is. Now, Hollywood Brown is also, he is placed on IR. The Chiefs have already done so, and he will undergo surgery. Now, this is a complex situation. This is where the sternum meets the clavicle area, and Hollywood Brown is in some trouble. There's going to be, I believe, a plate put in, and this might be the end of Hollywood Brown ever being considered a starter, not only for a team, like a number 1 or 2 for the team. He'll be maybe a rotational player, probably never stay healthy. Who knows if this thing takes the entirety of the year to make sure he's good to go, because he's such an injury-prone player. If you throw him out there even remotely not close to 100%, he is going to get injured again because he's a fragile Freddy. But this is, I would essentially say drop him. You can put him on your IR spot. I'm fine with that. Unless you have Hawkinson in there or Jonathan Brooks and you only have one spot, don't waste the spot on Hollywood. If you've got a spot, throw him on there. I mean, of course, utilize your IR spots whenever you can. And then another IR person comes up and you have to keep them over Hollywood. You kick Hollywood to the curb. But if somebody drops Hollywood and you have an IR spot open, you could pick him up and put him on IR. I'm fine with all those avenues, right? But for the most part, I would say expecting him to help you this year is not worth holding him unless it's an IR spot. There's just no benefit to having this man out for 4 weeks, but I'm telling you, it's far longer than that, most likely. We're talking 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So if I'm you, I cut him. If I'm you, I cut him. I don't think he's going to have any sort of ability to help you in 2024. And he'll only hurt you by not being able to pick up A.D. Mitchell, not being able to pick up some of these amazing guys to grab off of waivers. And those guys include these bad boys right here. So you've got Mitchell, you've got Whittington, you've got McMillan. McMillan's still available in a number of leagues. Demarcus Robinson. Whittington's getting overlooked because everyone thinks it's Demarcus Robinson. It very well could be. Naylor, you got Addison injured and not playing, so Naylor becomes a great pickup if you need somebody. Wilson is a great Cardinal wide receiver. Dortch is pretty decent. Leggett, I like a lot. You've got Yoshi Voss, who's being cut everywhere nationwide. So he's available if you need a wide receiver. But yeah, I think all this tells me is that Hollywood Brown is giving this
motion detected at the front door
Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice situation an absolute double stamping of a triple stamp. Like we're sending these guys not just to the moon, Rashee Rice and Worthy, not just to Mars.
To Mars.
Worthy and Rice essentially become Saturn men, I would say, this year. Like mid-season, if we were to do it, it would be. And on that note, it's like Wild Wild West time. We need to potentially fill this in. Let's start off with these two bad boys. These two bad boys are going not only to the Wild Wild West, but they are the Outlaws, the two best Outlaws, I think, walking into week number 2. Outlaw season is here, and these two monsters are going nuts. So Worthy and Rashee Rice to the moon. That's all she wrote news-wise right now that I want to cover. We've got other news that's floating out there, which I'm going to cover at the 8 p.m. show. Just in general, in a nutshell, we've got a lot of Tua Tagovailoa conversation, a lot of rumors out there. Trey Lance trade, and you think about the fit there, right? Trey Lance. Well, what do they need over there? Like running back. You know, what does Miami have a surplus of? A running back. What if Jalen Wright was traded to the Cowboys for Trey Lance? You know, that conversation is being kicked around by a lot of people, but it's speculation. But it makes a lot of sense. Like, Lance over to the Dolphins. I mean, you could rip on Lance all you want. You could say he had 5 interceptions in a preseason game, but there were moments where we're like, oh, God, this guy ran for a nice touchdown. Then he threw 5 INTs. There's definitely the consideration of that, I think, going on. But you also have Miami Mike McDaniel talking about how he's set at quarterback. And they don't want to do anything to offend Tua probably as well, which is not the way you approach this. This is a business. But, you know, it's crazy when you think about, like, what if Wright got traded to Dallas for Lance? It makes a lot of sense. Then you got talk about, you know, Tom Brady. Most of that's coming from me. Tom Brady over to the Dolphins. Why not? I mean, I'd pick up the phone. I would have already picked the phone up and said, Tom, come win a championship. And Tom has never had, like, he's at Randy Moss, but he's never had this kind of speed before, this type of wide receiver room. He's never had. I don't know what Tom Brady would do with this. Tom Brady could win a Super Bowl. I don't care what you think of Tom Brady. I don't care if you think he's too old. This guy doesn't need to throw the ball down the field, 80 yards. He doesn't need to pull an AR5. He needs to literally just facilitate the football, make smart line of scrimmage decisions, and just say, here, take it here, take it here. Debo Samuel type rolls everywhere. Wide back here, hand the ball off to H.N. little toss in the flat. You're my new running back that I'm going to check down to. Like, it would be unreal. It would be unreal. You got conversations about Kirk Cousins. We all know Penix Jr. is going to be in that lineup in Atlanta at some point. this year, whether it's in week 3, week 5, week 8. I don't know, but it feels like the pressure is going to mount on Kirk Cousins, as well as the fact that he just didn't look good in week 1, but we don't want to knee-jerk react. The Steelers are a tough defense, right? And I think undervalued. So we need to keep that in mind. But I think that Cousins makes some sense. I think that you have a few avenues you could attack if you wanted to. Fields and Russell Wilson, it seems like, your initial instinct would be Russell Wilson, right? But he's injured. I don't think anybody would take Russell Wilson. But you also look at Tomlin and you say, okay, they'd be dumb to get rid of their backup quarterback in Fields because Russ can't stay healthy. But you also think, why don't they anoint Fields the starter? Why do they keep trying to give it to Russell Wilson? Fields is doing everything he can to try and keep this job. Winning games, looking good in the preseason, winning the job in the preseason, still not giving him the job. Russ can't stay healthy. Russ keeps waking up injured. He doesn't even get injured. He wakes up injured. And he's shorter. He's not game ready anymore. He's great in practice and in drills. He's always been great in practice and in drills. So you wonder if the Pittsburgh Steelers might consider trading Justin Fields if they don't want to anoint him the starter. And but I think because there's injury concerns with Russ all year long, they can't do that. A lot of different things. Joe Milton would be an amazing trade to the Miami Dolphins, to be honest with you. But I don't know that that's going to happen. So a lot of different conversations getting kicked around. Isaac with the $20 hauler. Appreciate you, Isaac. Which one of these trades sounds better? Giving away Tua, Isaiah Likely, and Dell, and getting back A.J. Brown, Hutchinson, and Higgins? Or should I do this one? Laporta and Cowboys D, and I get back Chargers and Amari Cooper and Kupp. So if this is redraft and you're getting Laporta, Cowboys D, you get back Chargers and Cooper Kupp. I mean, look, I'd rather have Cooper Kupp by a landslide if it's a redraft because he's a top 5 overall player. But I'm not saying I don't like the top trade in some ways, but I definitely think I would take that second deal. Looks like a home run. And thank you for your super chat. You're going to Mars for being a $20 monster, you Isaac. Appreciate you, my boy. Isaac to the freaking moon. This one here from Celestial, appreciate you. 12.5 Superflex. I get Pittman and Ayuk, Hawkinson for Laporta, Debo. I don't know why you would want that top part of the trade. Laporta and Debo absolutely annihilate the top part. So, however that helps you. The way you worded it, I don't know which side you're on, but I think you understand what side I'm on. Just to help you. What's up, Smitty? Got offered Chase for Dobbins and Nico. I would take Jamar Chase personally. I get it. It makes sense to consider that other side, But Burrow, people worry about Burrow. Burrow's a big concern right now for a lot of people, but I definitely would do that. What should I do with my team? Love, K9, Cook, Henry, Chase, JSN, Reed, Neighbors, Flex, Singletary. I don't know if there's much to trade other than sell high on James Cook if you were, and I'm not saying I'm doubting him right now. I'm just saying that there's sell high players and then there's not sell high players. If you want to make a trade, you got to sell those sell high players. And Jamar Chase isn't going to get what you want, although a person that knows how good he is might say, I don't care about what he's done. I'll pay the price. So you could explore that, but I don't know. I think you got a lot of players, so if it's me, I'm trying to consolidate. So something along the lines of like
motion detected at the front door.
Like Cook and Reed for an Achane who someone might be panicked on now, or Cook and Reed for a Kyron, or Cook and Reed for a Jahmyr Gibbs. Like I go in those directions if I'm going to make a trade at all. So it just depends. Red, I'm not. The phone lines aren't open yet, but I'll give you 20 seconds. Go.
Hey, boss, real quick. I'm trying making a trade yesterday because I have Dallas tight end. I picked up the Rams tight end. Do you think it's a better deal, or should I keep looking?
The Rams tight end over who? Over
Dallas's tight end, Ferguson.
Oh yeah, because yeah. I mean, yeah, Parkinson's pretty good. I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, you got to give me options. You're just telling me, do you like Parkinson or not? Like, that's the only thing you're asking me.
Well, I looked in the waiver wire, and that's all I found with Parkinson.
Then my answer is yes.
Kind of up in there.
That's like Red. That's Red.
Too.
That's like you coming to me and saying, "Hey, Smitty, I got one pair of shoes in my closet, and I need to wear some shoes today. Should I wear those one pair of shoes?" Like I don't know, bro. I mean, of course you got to do that. I mean, Ferguson is tough. He's a tough situation. So,
but I figure once Cook is out, we need to get in the red zone, right?
Yeah, I would try and I would try not to cut Fergie, but if you have to, I get it. And then you monitor him because he's still got top 6 tight end potential. All right, got to go, Red. Appreciate you.
100%.
Thank you, Red. All right. Let's see here. Marty, appreciate you, Marty. Marty with a super chat. Marty says, rate what I should do with my team. I would consolidate on this one. I would try and figure out how to do what I suggested with those RBs. Appreciate you with the super chat, my guy. Joe says, I lost Tua. Should I trade CMC and Mason for Patrick Mahomes? Joe, if you're without a quarterback, I mean, there's some value here, but you got to remember, and once the season begins or once the draft's over, the values of quarterback change. I've said this over and over and over. You can't trade for Mahomes at his draft value. You leave a draft and you realize Mahomes was taken in the 3rd or 4th round. We'll call it the 3rd round on average. The minute the draft's over, if you go to the Mahomes owner and say, hey, I'll give you the guy drafted in round 2 for your Mahomes, they say no. And that's the indication that quarterbacks are grossly undervalued because when you drive them off the lot, unlike a car, it gains $2,000, doesn't lose $2,000. So Mahomes is not, you can't look at he's a 3rd rounder, and you can't look at that. But I feel like you need to get something else with it. Maybe there's a player here that you could get that no one's liking. Like, get it thrown in. Maybe you give up a player that's doing really well and you get doubted Tank Dell back, where it's a 2 for, 2 in that sense. But I can't say this is a bad move, but I also can't say that you don't have better options, like you're picking up Stafford, or you got Stafford and Penix Jr.'s out there and you get Penix Jr., put him on your bench, and all of a sudden you got this nice little combo going, and now you have Jordan Mason and Christian McCaffrey, and Mason's playing like a baller, so do I think it's a bad move? No. Do I think the context is important to know whether you should do it or not? And do I think you're winning the league by losing McCaffrey and Mason? Even if you're getting Mahomes, probably hard to imagine. Would you trade Dell or Ayuk and Kelsey for Harrison Jr. and Kincaid? Dell and Kelsey over Harrison Jr. and Kincaid. I'd rather have Dell and Kelsey. Ayuk and Kelsey, probably Ayuk and Kelsey. Look, I buy low on Marvin Harrison Jr. I buy low on Dalton Kincaid, but these are buying as if there's not perceived concern. So no matter what, my answer is you're not getting enough fair market value-wise. Not against buying them low. I still believe in Kincaid very much. Drop 1 for kicker. Walker, Mostert, Watson, Sharps. Obviously not dropping. Christian Watson, I guess. Mostert, you can't put Mostert on IR. And I guess he's coming back. I would probably drop Christian Watson if I had to here. And understand, guys, I'm not saying drop Christian Watson in any of your other scenarios if anybody's watching. This is a league where you've got Brian Thomas Jr. on waivers. I know he has him on his team, but I'm saying that he's considering dropping Brian Thomas Jr. because the rosters are so small, or it's an 8-man league and rosters are small. Like, he's literally those guys are on waivers. It's just a different league. So Christian Watson is not a drop normally. Saturn or Mars? Saturn's always better. Mahomes, JD5, AJB, Garrett Wilson, Kyron, JT, Rashee Rice. Absolutely great team. Paid league, I hope so. What are we doing? Mock drafts here? Bench, Debo, Knicks. Okay, why is Debo on your bench? This does look like a mock draft. I mean, bro, you can't even upgrade anything. I mean, I love JD5. If I could get rid of, let's call it And I don't know that I want to get rid of the depth. The depth is nice. Okay, you don't always have to just get rid of a Debo because it's on your bench. But the depth is nice. Tank Dell's on your bench too, though. So maybe you're going with like a Debo and a JD5 to get a, Josh Allen who just had a bad game. Like that's all you can do. Everything else is a hold. I like your RBs. I love your wide receivers. Maybe Garrett Wilson and Tank Dell for Lamb. Like there's Garrett Wilson and maybe Debo for Lamb and something. Like there's nothing else to do there, Chris. You're merely flexing, which I appreciate and everybody understands. Because if we had that team, we'd be flexing it too. So nice job. Appreciate you. Flawless, Smitty, you give me Hulk Hogan vibes, brother. Thank you, Flawless. I appreciate that. I like Hulk Hogan. He's a monster of his time. So I'm going to take that as a compliment, whether you meant it or not. And I think you meant it. Rank McLaurin, JMO, JSN, please. JMO, McLaurin, tiny break in between JSN. Like a little tier break there. Little small tier break. Cole, appreciate you. CMC and Mason for MHJ and Mixon. I don't know that I would do that, bro, because Mason's going to ball. And if McCaffrey does come back, I don't think I do that. I think you're selling low on the combo that you have. So the show loves you back. I wouldn't do that. I think you can get a little more. And I think you're buying Marvin Harrison Jr. as if Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't panicking his owners right now. I'm buying him a much cheaper value than that. 1178 in here, 1100 people in here. Please subscribe if you're new, because if you haven't subscribed, you won't know when I'm live, and I'm live when news breaks like this very show. So hit subscribe, hit the bell, turn it on, slap the bell, and hit the like button while you're at it. We got 196 thumbs up, and we got 1,100 people in here. 14-team half PPR, Christian Watson, Pitts, and Wright for Olave and Goddard. Christian Watson, Pitts, and Wright for Olave and Goddard. Give me Olave and Goddard by a lot. Okay, bro? And do it live. Let's see. Josh Allen, Chase, running backs Jacobs, Mixon, Ramondre, any moves. Try trading Ramondre or Mixon with Reed or Pickens to go get a Lamb Chops or a Kyron or an Achan or a potential JT. Those types of moves, the 2-for-1s, that's really the only thing I would try to do with that team because it looks pretty damn solid, bro. Oscar, $10 hauler, non-PPR, 10-team, 0-1 and might be 0-2 going into week 3. Josh Allen, Barkley, Gibbs, DK, Rice, Ingram, Ford, Najee, Dell, JD5, Keon. It's a better team than you think, though, bro. Don't worry about turning it around, as you say at the bottom of your message. It's not like you need to turn it around. You just had some bad luck. You've had some bad luck matchup-wise because you had Barkley last week and you lost. You must have gone up against a monster of a squad. But I do think there's opportunity anywhere. Not with your RBs. Kind of not with your wide receivers. Really, it's more so, I would say, with your flex option or maybe upgrading DK. So Najee and DK for that Lamb Chop type player, CD Lamb, for Jamar Chase, for St. Brown's probably one of the best buy lows right now in fantasy. DK and Najee, go get St. Brown, try and get more. Easy slam, home run, move, my guy. I like Marvin Harrison Jr. on the low, but you're giving up small stuff for that. Should I be panicking on Waddle? I would be panicking on Waddle a little more than Tyreek Hill. I think Waddle gets knocked down to about outside the top 15 wide receivers. I think Hill could flirt with the, I said outside the top 10
Motion detected at the front door.
last night, but I was digesting that live. I always reserve the right to change my mind because this is my show, and I'm real about it. I don't Excel sheet Eric this stuff where I put it on an Excel sheet and it is what it is, and we just refer to the Excel sheet. Line 9, I said last night on line 9, Hill's at number 12. Like I'm loose. We stay liquid. We're loose and liquid on this channel. That's how we do it. And I feel like it could flirt between the 8. I don't think he's in the top 5. I know that. But he could flirt between like 7 and 12. One day he's 7, one day he's 10, one day he's 12. But is he a top 1 to 5 wide receiver right now? Probably not. Am I taking St. Brown straight up for Tyreek Hill? Yes. Waddle is a whole different thing. Waddle gets knocked out of the top 15. You know, so I'm panicking on him, but what am I getting? I'm trying to get MHJ. I'm trying to get maybe Dell and something. Like, those are the maneuvers I'm trying to make. But it's also important to understand that we think it's going to go a certain way. Tua's going to retire, and he very well could. But you never know, and things could be back to normal for a little while until Tua gets hit again, unfortunately. And maybe that doesn't happen until next year. We don't know what Tua's mindset is. We don't know if the NFL can even really do anything to force him to not come back. I don't know that everyone keeps saying that the NFL needs to step in. What are they going to do? You know, like, this is unprecedented, so it's hard to know what can even be done. And on top of that, it's like, I don't know, all these NFL players, these big name, current, former players coming out saying he should retire. I think it's going to put the clamps on him, and his family is going to use that to say you need to step away. So I think there's a real good shot he does step away, but we just don't know. So if you get rid of Waddle or Hill at too cheap of a value, you could be kicking yourself later. Subscribe if you're new. 1162 in here. Hit the thumb up button. 238 thumbs up. 1240 in here. We could do better than 238 thumbs up. Smash it. Trade JD5 for Flowers. Feel like I'd be selling low on JD5. I have AR5. Yeah, I would try and get, like, you know, I like Delmore. I like MHJ. I love Worthy. You know, those are probably where I would take it. Sometimes you're beholden to the team that needs a quarterback, though, so I get it. And maybe there's another player on the roster. Maybe they have one of those players I just mentioned. Trade Hurts, Ford for Love and Debo. No. I like Debo a lot, bro. But I don't think I'm getting rid of Hurts. I would maybe do JD5 and Ford for Debo. Maybe even let him keep Love and you pick up someone on waivers if they're there. I just don't know that trading for, I mean, damn it, you get Debo and JD5 in your lineup, though. I like Ford, though, a lot. I'm going to keep Hurts. I love JD5. If for me to get... I don't know. Chat, what do you think on this one? I mean, look, if we're drafting over again, you can't do that with quarterbacks. It just doesn't work. If we're drafting over again, Debo goes higher than Hurts, but if we're trading for Jalen Hurts, it's not the same. I think Hurts just commands so much more. What do you guys think on this one? I think Ford is also getting disrespected here. Ford's pretty damn good. I'm gonna say I probably lean toward keeping Hurts, but would I be entertaining another trade? Maybe. St. Brown, maybe. But again, you're beholden to the person that needs a QB. But I think I'd rather. I like JD5 and Debo, though. It is nice. Debo, we got a Debo. Chat, you liking Hurts and Ford or Debo and Love, and then he's got JD5? I don't know. This is a tough one. Ford PPR monster. Yep, I like Ford. Debo. The majority of the chat is saying Debo. And I don't blame him. I mean, I understand. I'm wavering myself. I don't know. Maybe you go balls to the wall with JD5. And you say, you know what? Let's do it. Let's ride. And at least you got Love as a backup. And with CMC going potentially on IR, you know, yeah. The chat saying Debo. I'm gonna concede to the chat's recommendation here because I'm wavering anyway. They're convincing me. All right, I guess we go Debo, bro. We got a super chat here, $20 hauler from Robert. Robert, you absolute monster, you.
To Mars.
Robert, get on over to Mars. Do it live. Should I be patient? QB Josh Allen, running back Stevenson. I assume it's Javonte Williams. Receivers are Chase, St. Brown, Andrews, Flex is JSN, Pollard, bench. Yeah, I mean, your running backs are not looking strong. They look okay because Stevenson's solid right now, but You can't sell anybody, bro. Allen just had a bad game. Jamar Chase, you can't sell him yet. St. Brown has had a bad game. Andrews had a bad game. Your only choice is to be patient. But would I try my very best, bro, to use Pollard and like get MHJ or Dell or something? I would before that is too late. That's the only thing I'd say is try and trade Pollard. I don't know what you're going to get. You know, like it's not like it's going to be easy, but try. Red says he wants more time. Red, call back in after I get through these super chats. Appreciate you. Rich with the 199, nothing attached. Rich, you got
Motion detected at the front door.
You got to put your message in the chat, my guy. I traded DJ Moore and Ford for Rice. I think you smashed him, bro. I think you pulled a Smitty maneuver. You Smittied him. Rashad White or Zach Charbonnet if Skywalker sits. I think I'd go Skywalker or Charbonnet, that situation, if there's one of them. I'm not sitting Sharps or I'm not playing Sharps if Walker goes correct, but I think I'd go with Charbonnet, the Skywalker replacement. I think he'd have a good day. Adam with the 499, nothing attached. You guys got to put the message in the super chat. Appreciate it, but especially after I'm doing these, going through them all, I'm never going to see your actual message that's floating around out there. Pick 2, London, Rice, Devontae Smith. I'm going to go Rice and Smith right now, but that's tough, Kirkwood. You're going to get that wrong 8 times out of 10. Would you do CMC, Terry Likely for Gibbs and Zay Flowers? CMC without Mason, Terry Likely for Gibbs and Zay Flowers. I would take Gibbs and Zay Flowers, especially if there's Mason involved. Maybe we're looking at it differently. But you didn't list him. Lad McConkey and Jamison Williams for Xavier Worthy. I'd rather have Xavier Worthy, but look, I love J-Mo too, though. Who is better, stash Smitty, Spears or Wright? Wright is still a better stash. I know people are upset at him, but you can play that game if you want and be very emotional, or you can look at it logically. Him not getting a chance last night does not take away his talent. I know people don't understand that, but that's okay. That's why we're here. 1,200 people in here, only 271 thumbs up. Those are rookie numbers. Hit that thumb up button and subscribe if you're new, because about 30% of the 1,200 are probably not yet subscribed. So smash it. Stash Isaac Garendo, just dropped Jeff Wilson. Yes, I would definitely do that, because you got a situation now where Garendo's now a heartbeat away from the starting lineup in San Francisco, and that's an important role. This one here, would you start Connor over Jacobs? I probably would this week. Have Hurts, Reed, and Fields for Devontae Smith. Have Hurts, Reed, and Fields for Devontae Smith. I guess, but mainly because, what if Jordan Love does need 2 or 3 more weeks? We don't know. There's talk about him playing, there was talk about him playing this week, and then now it's like, okay, that means probably next week's good to go, right? Not a guarantee. So, he could go out there and not progress as well as fast as he was. Tough to say. Cody with his, I believe this is Cody's first super chat ever, and he's dropping a wad, a doozy. Opinions on my team, areas to improve, ideas for wide receiver. Charbonnet for Puka, Sharps for, to the Walker owner. Sharps for Puka. I'd take Puka in a millisecond. QB Hurts, Gibbs. I love this trade. Hollywood Brown, Scary Terry, Sharps. I like the team. I think you make that maneuver, bro. I really like Dell. I really like Monty. I like Kelsey. Hollywood Brown, drop him or put him on IR. I think Scary Terry becomes a really good asset for you. And you put him in your lineup for now, obviously, over Coleman. And I think Tank Dell and McLaurin are very crafty. I'd love for you to upgrade that, but I don't want you to do that at the expense of these other players. The only guy you have to maybe move that wide receiver up would be like McLaurin and Likely for a better wide receiver. I would go after MHJ. You're not going to get St. Brown, but try St. Brown, MHJ, Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy. Those are players that I would go after for your team. I think those are all elite players, bro. Elite. Mason and Waddle for Rashad White and Evans. You know, that's not bad because Evans is so good, but I don't know, man. Rachaad White scares me. Waddle scares me. Mason doesn't scare me. I like Mason a lot, but he does still have maybe an expiration date at some point or a point where he gets watered down.
Motion detected at the front door.
So I'd probably go Evans and Rachaad White, but then I try and flip Rachaad White for more. But that's a really tough trade. If it's just Mason, if you got CMC, then you shouldn't be doing that. This one here from Hezo, appreciate you, 10-team league. Worthy or Jameson this week? I'm going Worthy. I love both. Dell projected a little more. I like Dell, but I'm going Worthy. I'm trying to get Dell in my lineup, though, but you seem to not be able to with Lamb and Smith. So you're going to be burned by this question a lot. Don't come back and say, Smitty, I can't believe you told me. Look, we're talking about Dell, we're talking about Smith, we're talking about Worthy. These are all like studs. You could maybe make some trades, 2-for-1s, do a RB and one of those guys like Dell or Devontae Smith for a upgrade into a Gibbs or something. Have to drop 2. Who should I drop from the bench? Chase Brown, Dowdle, Palmer, Adunze. Adunze is somebody I wouldn't drop even though he's been banged up and he's very, very, iffy right now. Palmer and Dowdle I drop pretty easily. I still hold on to Chase Brown. I don't care. I'm not fickle. I'm not saying everybody that it's wavering on all of the guys that haven't done well yet are fickle, but you need to be careful not to overreact to week 1. Traded Tyreek and Muth for Garrett Wilson and Bowers. I like that. I like that. That's how you get out of that situation. Garrett Wilson's very questionable to people right now, so that's a good move. Traded CMC for Dobbins and London. I'm not saying this won't work out. If you don't have Mason, you were in a tough spot. But that seems like you sold low because Christian McCaffrey's not on IR yet. If he was on IR, then yeah, it'd be like, oh God, he's out for, yeah, you probably should have taken that. So I think you preemptively made a move. It could work out. Did I think at the time when you did it, it was something that you could have got a little more on maybe? Dynasty trade, Jordan Mason, start 3. Trade Jordan Mason, yeah, I probably would. If you can get MHJ, you're going to have to couple it with somebody. People aren't completely crazy. Tank Dell straight up, things like that. Start 3. Mason, Ford, and probably Pollard right now. Send offers Herbert, Ford, and Warren for Love and CMC and McLaurin. Yeah, I'd do that if you can do that at Conco. Keeping Purdy to start. I could be okay. Send offer Herbert, Ford, and Warren for Love, CMC, McLaurin. Yeah, I mean, I definitely do that. I don't know. It seems like one of those ones you concocted and it's not going to get accepted, but you're running it by me. I don't know that that's something that's on the table. It's an odd trade too, but we'll have to see how that goes for you. 10-team starters are AR5, Henry, Rachaad White, Lamb, London, Ingram, Neighbors, Singletary, Worthy, Lockett, Judy. Any moves? I'd probably say maybe get rid of Henry or Rachaad White. I don't like those running backs for you, but what are you going to get right now? They're both not sell highs. London, I'm not trading him low. Lamb, I'm not trading him. Neighbors, not trading him. Brian Robinson Jr. and White, Rachaad White. Hard to trade 2 RBs for 1, but I'd try it. I'd try getting Pacheco. Try getting I'm obviously trying to get a Kyron. So Henry and Brian Robinson Jr. Ramondre's on your bench. Worthy's on your bench. I'm getting Brian Robinson out of there and put Worthy in, by the way, or Ramondre. Neighbors is banged up. Monitor that. You might put in Ramondre and Worthy this week, but I don't know, bro. Trade Henry and Rachaad White together for Kyron and then bring Ramondre into your lineup. Henry and Rachaad White for Gibbs, for Kyron, for JT. Maybe the owner has no depth. Flex Flowers or BT if Jacobs is out. Who do you pick up off waivers? Prescott over Rodgers, and I'd probably go BT over Flowers, but that could go either way, bro. That's a really tough one. Would you be looking to maybe move CMC in a 12-man Superflex Dynasty League? Yeah, Tyler, I would, but who's going to trade for a running back with Achilles tendonitis in a Dynasty League at this point? He was a sell before the season began. What could you get? Try and get Rashee Rice and Worthy and MHJ and Neighbors and Dell and something, or Pacheco or Kenneth Walker. Like, yeah, I'm selling CMC in a dynasty, but not very many buyers are going to be out there for a guy that just got diagnosed with Achilles tendonitis. Selling of CMC in dynasty, that ship is probably sailed. But try for all those guys I threw out there, and if you got something else, throw it at me and I'll tell you. Trade JD5 and JMO for Allen. I would take Allen in a heartbeat, and that's even me loving JD5. That's a home run of a trade. QBs are Bryce Young, Goff was offered Jalen Hurts, Neighbors, and Bucky Irving for Jamar Chase. I would take Neighbors and Hurts for Goff. Yes, I love Jamar Chase, bro, but Neighbors is pretty damn good to get back to get that kind of top 3 QB upgrade. 6-point Superflex. Who do you give for AJB? He lost Tua. He wants a QB. Geno and Devo or T-Law. I give him whatever quarterback he wanted, my guy. But I don't know that Debo is necessarily that big of a downgrade from AJB, my guy. So I would trade him Flowers or Ayuk. Keep Rice. Flowers or Ayuk with whatever quarterback he wants. Make him overpay. But I don't know that Debo and AJ Brown are that far apart. Current team. QB Goff. Achane, Kyron, love it. Mason, love it. Lamb, Rice, Drake London, love it. Higgins, maybe trading Higgins. JMO, maybe trading JMO. Not trading your running backs. Unless I'm trading Mason and Higgins for like JT or St. Brown. Higgins and Mason for MHJ and something. Higgins for MHJ. Higgins for Tank Dell. Higgins and Andrews for McBride. Yes, McBride. Full PPR Andrews +1 for an upgrade. Yes. So similar to what I just said. I didn't even read your question, but we're on the same page. 300s, appreciate you. Traded Jonathan Taylor, DK, and Zay for James Cook, Nico, and Devontae Smith. I got Barkley. Traded JT, DK for Cook, Nico, Devontae Smith. And it's pretty close. I think that it's hard to say who won that trade. I don't think you lost it or won it. I think there's a confusing amount of equal value on all sides of that trade. It could go either way. I don't think it's one of those trades where it's like, I'm not saying what's the point, but like definitely similar sides. Nico plus JMO for Amon-Ra. It got vetoed. That's ridiculous. I think like I'm wavering on what side won that. That's ridiculous that got vetoed, bro. 10 team, 2 running back, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. Hurts, CMC, Henry, Rashee Rice, Devontae Smith, MHJ, and Pitts. Should I move CMC for JT? Absolutely, bro. In a millisecond. You might have CMC going on IR, my guy. And if he doesn't, he's still very, very questionable to help you all year long. You got to hit that trade and hit it quick. Mahomes, Kyron, Mixon, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith, Laporta, London, Worthy, Mason, Wright, Corum. Thoughts? Got accepted for Gibbs, giving Mason and Spears. Oh, God, that's a great trade. I think after that trade, I'd just stand pat, bro. Unless you're trading like Mixon and, let's call it Mixon and, London for Lamb or something like that. God, it's hard to not be able to say Tyreek Hill anymore. I'm not saying I don't buy Tyreek Hill on the cheap, but you need to sit. That team's great. That trade made you an 8.5 out of 10, bro. That was a good trade. I would sit on that before I mess it up, unless you're doing that upgrade to like Lamb. That's it. Likely or Pitts this week. I'm going to go likely. But Pitts is still solid, but we got to see what's what with that Atlanta Falcons passing attack before I'm trusting that over a likely who just blew up. Where do you rank Worthy, strong flex, or higher? Worthy's a borderline wide receiver 1. So we're not on the same page at all. I think he's an elite wide receiver 2. Senior Rojo, who's the better pickup for Chase Brown, Whittington or Wright? Probably, I don't know, man. To be honest with you, I don't know that I'm dropping Chase Brown yet. I think the story for Chase Brown is yet to be told. And while it hasn't kickstarted yet, everybody jumping off I knew he'd be cut immediately if he had a bad game. Everybody's just jumping off the ship. Look, Whittington, if you need a wide receiver, but I don't know that there's necessarily something. I don't know. Are we starting Whittington? I don't know. Is it Demarcus Robinson? I don't know. Is it Johnson? I don't know. Chase Brown's certainly not blowing up, but is he still capable of it? Yeah, 8-team league. Stroud, Rashad White, Bijan, Wilson, MHJ, Neighbors, Laporta, Benches, Dobbins, Higgins. I'm trading Higgins and or Dobbins for one player. Cooper, I throw Cooper in. Cup, or Kirk, I throw Kirk in. Not Cup. Kirk, I throw Kirk in. You don't even own Cup, but Najee, I throw Najee into a deal. Like, you got a lot of bench talent, bro. Rashad White, let's get Rashad White upgraded into Achane, Kyren, JT, at least a Pacheco using this bench talent. Throwing Kirk in, Higgins and Rashad White for Pacheco. Definitely trying to upgrade into a Kyren or an Achane. Achane is panicking his owners a little bit, even though some people love him like us. Like, he's going to be the number one running back after 2 weeks when everybody plays on Sunday and Monday. Trade Reed and Scary Terry for Rice. Too much? No, I mean, it could be considered too much to some, but I'm okay doing that. Castro, appreciate you. Smitty, I'm thinking of trading CMC, Mason, and Andrews likely, Amari Cooper for Puka, McBride, and Brees. I would take the Brees side. Is that too much? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's too much right now with the Niners situation. I don't mind swapping that out for Brees, and you get a lot of talent there. I get Algier and an early third for Benson. Why? Who cares? I keep Benson. I hold on to the value. This is a dynasty. Hold on to the value. Why do you want Algier? Keep Benson. Why? What's happened to Benson's dynasty value that I don't know about? Did he get hit by a bus last night? 12-team PPR starting Hurts, Pacheco, Achane, Jettas, Rashee Rice, good team. Benching Ford, Moss, Reed, Dowdle, Wright. Any moves? No. I like your team the way it is. Minus DJ Moore and Monty, DJ Moore and Ford, DJ Moore and Dowdle, DJ Moore and Reed. Go get MHJ on the cheap. Go get Tank Dell. Go get DK Metcalf, Devontae Smith. You pull that off with that squad and upgrade that DJ Moore spot. I'm loving your team to the 8.5 tune out of 10, bro. Trade Pollard for Dell. I would take Dell in a millisecond. My guy. Full PPR. Should I start Rashee Rice or Debo? Both of them. Jordan, you're not going to get me to answer this. You're asking me to bench one of these guys? How is your team so good you can't start Rashee Rice? And if so, no one feels bad for your amazing squad where you lambasted the grandma league or the nursing home. Good Lord. First of all, you can't sit Debo, okay? And I don't know. You got to find a way to start Rashee Rice, but you can't sit Debo if that helps answer the question. But I'm not telling you to sit Rashee Rice. Not coming out of my mouth. Trade Mason and Mostert and J-Mo for Ayuk and Neighbors. Mason, Mostert, J-Mo for Ayuk, Neighbors. I take Ayuk and Neighbors. But, you know, there's still some good talent on that other side. Mason's such a good player right now. Smitty the Fool. Neighbors for Kyren. I have Corum. Yes, if you like winning, you do the trade, bro. Come on. My Neighbors, good trade. My Neighbors and Brooks for Devontae Smith and Mostert. I'm going to say I like the Neighbors and Brooks side more, but I don't hate the idea of getting Mostert, but he might be cut by that owner soon, you know? Who you trade the PPR? I'd rather have Steven. Let's look at your team. I'd rather have Diggs in your situation. So I'm going to keep Diggs. They're close enough that it's situation based. If Wright goes to Dallas, Jeff Wilson to the moon? No, not really. I mean, he have increased value, but most of it's coming back. You know, but that's speculative. That's like we talked about earlier. It's like it makes sense. No, nothing's necessarily happening, but Wright for Trey Lance makes a lot of sense. It's just, you know, this is just being pieced together by the conjecture. Got offer Zay, Flowers, Swift, and Warren for Devontae Smith and Monty. Look, I don't know how to put this other than I take Devontae Smith almost alone, and you're getting Monty. It's absolute smash that trade. That's a home run of a trade, bro. A home run. Drake London or Chris Olave. I'm going to probably go Drake London. Just a better offense, regardless of what people think of it after week one. From last Super Chat, if my Gibbs trade doesn't go through, cut who? Benson. If you have Kyren, you keep Corum. If not, And I still believe in Keon Coleman. I don't care what people say. I'd probably cut... I guess I would cut JSN if you need the RB upside. But Corum or JSN, depending on your position of need. Pretty even. But monitor whoever you cut, because they could be great. Got offered Achane and Lamar for Allen and Mixon. I'd rather have Allen and... man. I'd rather have Lamar and Achane. Lamar and Achane. Sit one, ETN, Mason, JK, Rice, Nico. I'm sitting JK because he's not guaranteed the whole workload. He had 10 carries last week. 2-for-1 trades. Yeah, I mean, JK and... JK and Nico for, like, St. Brown, who's on the low, bro. Like, that's the guy I'm trying to get. Or 1-for-1s. Go get, JK, get MHJ for JK. What do I do with Hill? Tyreek Hill, other moves, 10-team league. St. Brown straight up. Marvin Harrison Jr. and a running back like Pacheco. Combos like that. Tank Dell and Pacheco, go to the Pacheco owner, go to the Walker owner, see what wide receivers you can add into the mix, but I'm probably doing a 2-for-1. But Hill, you got to get rid of Hill, but you're going to have to get... I don't even know if I'd go lower than Pacheco. JT and a wide receiver, Pacheco and a wide receiver. I think for Hill, you got to get the world, as best you can. Harry with a blank 199. Appreciate you, Harry, dropping the wattage. If you got another question, put it in the super chat so I can see it. Traded Ladd and Justice Hill for Dell. I like Dell, bro. That's a great trade. Nice trade. Brian Thomas Jr. and Amari Cooper in the flex. I'm going to go probably Brian Thomas Jr. I just don't trust what's going on over in Cleveland, bro, at all. Sit one, Mason, Etienne, Worthy, JMO. Probably JMO because he's banged up. But that's really tough. That's a tough call. You're going to get that wrong maybe 5 times out of 10. $10 hauler for my boy Michael. Appreciate you, pal. Good squad. What can you do about the holes at wide receiver? I mean, I don't think I sell low on Puka, but if you could get Puka, if you could trade Puka for like a DK, a Devontae Smith, a Tank Dell, you might consider doing that. As far as your bench, I mean, look, Brian Thomas Jr. can fill in nicely. I don't think I freak out. I think I put Dell and BT in my lineup, and I feel really confident about those 2 spots at least. And you got Adams, who, I'd love to trade Adams for St. Brown. Maybe you can trade like, damn, bro. It's hard to say like what I want. I want to upgrade Rachaad White, but I also want to maybe upgrade or swap out Adams. I mean, what about Adams? Adams and MHJ. I don't know if that guy's got a running back swap that could also be done where you give him Rachaad White and you give him an upgrade into Adams from your MHJ, but you're able to upgrade Rachaad White. I'd look at that, but I definitely would shop. I'd put BT in my lineup, and I'd definitely shop Rachaad White. I'd maybe even... I'd even roll the dice, bro, and say, like, what could Rachaad White and BT get you? A Pacheco? Can you get into an upgraded RB? Devontae Smith or Michael Pittman Jr. in the flex. Anything can happen. I do think Michael Pittman Jr. is going to score. But I take Devontae Smith. I can't sit him. 2 flex JSN. Brooks for Olave Dell. Give me Olave Dell. But I do then kind of shop Olave if possible. Aaron, appreciate you. 10 team. Return yards, Goff, Waddle, Devontae Smith, DK, MHJ, Olave, Shaheed, Kyron, Corum, Pacheco, Zamir White, Kincaid, Bowers. I'd probably trade one of your tight ends, man. You got 2 great tight ends. I'd probably trade one of the tight ends. And actually, yeah, I probably would, but it depends on the keeper values, you know what I mean? Like if you're moving one. But like Waddle and a tight end to a tight end needy team, see what wide receiver they have. Olave, I don't mind upgrading Olave. St. Brown's available. People are doubting St. Brown so badly. So part of me wonders, like, a tight end and an Olave for St. Brown, is that even possible? Don't trade MHJ. Don't trade DK. Don't trade Devontae Smith. But Waddle is vulnerable. Don't trade Kyren. You got Corum. Waddle's vulnerable. Don't trade Pacheco. You got a really good team. Waddle and White. Zamir White, maybe. Waddle and a tight end. Waddle and Zamir White. Go try and get that. You've got Pacheco already. I said Pacheco earlier. Get that Pacheco type player. Or maybe go get yourself a QB upgrade, my guy. Actually, that's what I'm doing. I'm upgrading my quarterback. Dak is available if you need to do some cheap upgrade. Dak is pretty damn cheap. Kyler's kind of cheap. Appreciate you. 10 team, 2 wide receivers. Caleb, JD5, MHJ London, Brees, Mixon, Bowers. Likely any recommendations? Mixon and DJ Moore for one bigger monster, my guy. That's what I'm doing. I'm throwing that at the wall over and over and over till I get it. I'm trying to get Gibbs and trying to get maybe even JT, but go high as Kyren and those guys. Don't go lower than JT or Barkley. 10-man, 2 flex. Allen, Devonta Smith, Neighbors, Dell, Reed, Pacheco, Corum. Trying to trade Mason and Reed. Mason and Reed for St. Brown. Mason and Reed for Gibbs. Mason and Reed for HN. Mason and Reed should get you a lot. $5 hauler, 10-team keeper, return yards. Already got that one. Thank you. Appreciate you. ZT says, Smitty 16-team league. Kyler, Gino. Best trade options. Mason and Reed for one bigger monster like HN, Kyren, JT, Barkley. Easy. That's what I'm trying to do. But if you need a stronger wide receiver room, you want to go with Gibbs and Jacobs, and you're good with that, I would maybe look at still doing the same package, or Reed and Mason, or you could go Reed and Jacobs and keep Mason, bro. I mean, honestly, but one of those guys for St. Brown. St. Brown's so cheap right now. Go after MHJ if you don't have him already, and you could do that maybe even just using bench talent or Reed.
Motion detected at the front door.
Diggs, appreciate you with the $10 hauler. Josh Allen, Kincaid, playing catch up. Need a big week. Jacobs, Dobbins, London, Dell, Devontae Smith. Which 3 of these 5 should I roll with? Bring it back. Which 3 of these 5 playing catch up? Need a big week. Jacobs. Which 3? I'm gonna go Devontae Smith, Tank, Dell, and probably Drake London. But bro, that's a really, really tough call. I mean, you're talking about injuries and such. It's a tough call this week, but those are the 3 that I would go with. Paul, 10-team league. Fields, Mayfield, Love, Brian Robinson Jr., JT, Zamir, Wright, Nico, Adam, Amon-Ra. I don't know on this one, bro. Brian Robinson Jr. and maybe you can't. There's not much to trade here. Nico doesn't have the value yet. JT doesn't have quite the value yet. You got Brian Robinson Jr. that you could trade maybe for a Dell, or if you're going to upgrade potentially your quarterback. But how do you even do that? Who wants Fields or Mayfield as their starter? They don't. So if someone has an extra quarterback, it's like Brian Robinson Jr. maybe, and you can't sell Amon-Ra low. I think this team's really hard to maneuver right now, Paul. I hate to not be able to give you too much of advice, but unless you're buying low on Dell or something, I don't know that you can move anything until those guys gain some value, my guy. It's just not feasible. Otherwise, you're just losing and bleeding value and selling low. Too risky to trade Ramondre for Walker and Sharps? No, I don't mind that at all. Drop DeMarcus or Trey Benson. I'm dropping DeMarcus, even though he could have a good... Yeah, definitely he could have a good game. But ET, appreciate you. Make some moves or hold. Carr, Cousins, Penix Jr., Chase, Ridley, Debo, AJ Brown, Palmer, Sutton, running backs. Chase Brown, Algier, Bucky. Send it, thank you. I would say, like, your quarterback room's a little rough, but at least you got it backed up and ready. Debo and AJB and Chase is fantastic. Kamara is awesome, actually. So, like, Henry, I think you kind of hold still. Like, if I could trade Henry and maybe Henry and Debo for... I don't know, Henry. I don't think I could do that. Henry and... Kamara and Debo for a Gibbs. Kamara and Debo for a Breece Hall. I mean, there's not much to move here unless you're trading. Like, you could maybe try and upgrade your QB situation using AJB or Debo to get a Josh Allen or Mahomes. But past that, I don't think I'm moving much. And you almost have to bank on Kamara and Henry. Henry and Ridley for a slight, like, upgrade, like a Pacheco sidestep in a way. I don't think you're getting Achane or anything like that. Loop, appreciate it. Thank you, Loop. Appreciate you. Traded Tyreek plus... What is this? Traded Tyreek plus Muth for Garrett Wilson Bowers. Absolute smash, bro. Excellent job. Thinking of trading Tyreek for Jamar Chase. Owner offered it. I would take Jamar Chase in a set. What do you mean you're thinking about it? What would make you even hesitate when he lost his quarterback? Smash the hell out of that trade. Trade Mace. Good job. Good trade if you get it done. Trade Mason and Scary Terry for MHJ. I don't think you need to trade both of them. I'd say you trade one of them for MHJ. And even Mason right now, Mason's value might go up as soon as and if CMC's placed on IR, bro. Mason's value goes up tremendously, and maybe you don't even do that. But I think giving up both of them is too much. Any concerns with Josh Jacobs' injury this week? A little bit, but we'll find out more this week. But we'll have to see. These things, like T. Higgins, I feel fantastic and he didn't play. So we don't know. We just got to wait. But yeah, a little bit. Achane, Mason, Flowers. This team's solid in some ways. Like Hurts, Mason, Achane. I love that. Jefferson, really good. Flowers. Do I try and trade Harrison Flowers for one Gibbs, Barkley, JT, St. Brown? 100%. Flowers and Najee, keep throwing that at as many offers as you can to upgrade that. Trade Chase Brown and JSN one for one. For one of Dell Neighbors. Yeah, I'd take Dell or Neighbors for Chase Brown and JSN. I'd take either one. I'd probably rather have Dell than Neighbors. Probably still Amari. Yeah, absolutely. But Amari's my least favorite of that, by the way. Like, by a lot. Who would you drop of my bench? Javonte, Palmer so far. Palmer. Yeah, Palmer. I'm holding Palmer because he dropped at TD. I'm cutting Palmer, bro. If you want to cut someone else, you want me to throw another name out there, Javonte. But Estimate did go on IR, so the possibility that, he... let's see here. Upgrade tight end starting Hurts, Achane, Mason, Flowers, Parkinson, Harris. Didn't I already do this one? Harrison. No, I didn't. Okay, Harrison Pickens for a wide receiver. I'll try and go get St. Brown using Harrison Pickens. But upgrading tight end buy lows right now, Kincaid. Go get Kincaid for Najee. Go get Kincaid for Pickens. The fact that people are running away from Kincaid's laughable to me. And Kincaid's the best buy low tight end you'll find. In Dynasty, when do you sell Rice? I think he's starting to reach a peak. He could be suspended for half a year next year. So I would sell him for Worthy. That's hard to do because this year I like Rice a little more. But MHJ, you might have to give up a little bit more, but you'll never be able to get MHJ cheaper. Those would be my recommendations. But don't sell Rice very cheaply, bro. Pacheco if you're going to go for a running back. Walker if you wanted a running back. But even then, I think I'd rather... Rice is valuable, bro. He's very valuable. Red, call in real quick. Real quick, Red, and then I'm out of here. I'll be back for the 8 p.m. show. Do it fast, Red. Do it live. Twice in my life, dropping a $4.99. Appreciate you dropping that super chat. There's nothing attached to it, but appreciate you. Guys, remember, if you drop a super chat, you got to include it in the super chat. There's a reason why they give you so many characters in the super chat. If you drop the super chat and then try and include this long message, that's why they don't they don't go together, because then that's why they limit the characters. But make sure I'll look and see if you got a message twice to see if there's something you need to answer. But I'm gonna be out of here in 30 seconds if Red doesn't call in. I'm over Kincaid. I'm sorry. That's okay. You don't have to go after Kincaid. I'll take it. I'll take it from here. I've already done this before. We did this song and dance last year. I'm sorry, but I'm giving up on Jordan Love. I'm sorry, Smitty. I'm giving up on Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying I've heard this. I'm sorry, Smitty. Kincaid's garbage. Kincaid was amazing at the end of the year. I get it. I get it. I understand. I understand. Hassan, Nico, and Dobbins for Jamar Chase. Of course, I take Jamar Chase. All right, Red, I waited long enough. I'm sorry, my guy. I got to go. Appreciate you. Red, call in on the 8 p.m. show. I'll see you all later. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you twice for the super chat. I don't see any message from you, and I'm stepping out. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you. CMC may be going to IR. We'll have more of that at 8 p.m.